Time for a tarot reading. I'm going to start the evening off with a reading for someone. Someone that I know. So this is a reading by request. And it's going to be the star reading layout. I'm quickly adjusting a camera setting. Sort of like that. There. I'm going to go with that. So, star reading. That's kind of the purpose is to sort of get a view of like where she has been in the past, situationally, and what the moment is, and sort of what feelings are about it, what unconscious feelings are, what more conscious ideas about it might be, and the outcome, possible outcome. So it'll be interesting. It's just like I don't know. It's a spread I don't usually use, so I think this kind of thing is a great way to try new ideas, new spreads. Many of these card layouts are common to other people who read tarot cards, and they're very comfortable with them. But sometimes, you just realize you've been focusing on one kind of spread for quite a while. Like with me, I do a lot of 2 different spreads. I do a lot of the 10 card Celtic Cross and 3 cards, and adapting the 3 card to various past, present, future, something to let go of, something to hold on to, something to look forward to, changing the descriptors basically. So now let me switch back over to the tarot cam, and I'll get started with that reading. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do for this is use the major arcana cards for this reading. So I'm going to remove the normal deck that I use, and I have major arcana set up, separated out. There's, I can't shuffle that way, it's too thin. So this is the way to do it. Okay, so this reading the idea is to try and transition from a condition that's sort of been of concern or upsetting, difficult in the past, and sort of see a transition moving forward. I just do this until I feel comfortable. It's as simple as that. Let's look at the present moment in the first card position. We'll start present moment. Her feelings. Thoughts. Hidden. The unconscious. What she wants. Outcome. And the very heart of the matter. This is she. Justice. Justice is a balanced entity, which is obviously symbolized on this card with the balance, the scales of justice. It means, though, that there's a balance in outlook, in handling of situations, personal situations. There's a balance between intellect and emotion. There's a sort of a general ability to handle the challenges of this situation from all angles. The heart of the matter represents the querent, the person this reading is for, as someone who seeks the right thing, who seeks equilibrium, who wants things to be fair, who wants to treat people correctly, who wants to be calm, who has great capacity for intellectual analysis, but who's also down to earth, who is, reigns supreme when necessary, but is quite down to earth and has a relaxed outlook and is willing to confront things head on. The card face is not turned to any angle. It's dead on. She's looking straight at the camera. There's no hiding. There's no obfuscation. There's no confusion here. Things are clear as bells. Everything is seen. Everything is considered. Decisions are made wisely. Decisions are made with great care as to whether or not they are beneficial to others. That's the heart of the issue. That is representative of the person this reading is for. Now, where the querent is, where this person is at the present moment, here, the Empress. The Empress, and these are all major arcana cards, so they're important, lasting phenomena in this situation. They're part of the core, the structure of it. They don't easily come and go as other cards in the minor arcana might. So, the Empress is again calm. She looks forward. She's looking where her decisions need to take her. This is the present moment now. She also is supreme in her own way. She has command, but it's a calm, nurturing command. It's a motherly command. It's the kind of command that fosters growth, that leads people gently forward. It's not a dictatorial, sort of supremely authoritative approach to being in charge, to making decisions. It's a very considered, and it goes hand in hand with the Justice card. These two are working together. These two are very close friends. This balance, even-handed, clear-eyed approach, which is consistently present, combined with this nurturing, the offering of what is needed to create fertile soil for growth, for improvement, for further understanding. That's what's happening here. In the present moment, she seeks, to some extent, even though she possesses it, she seeks to maintain this perspective, this even-handed ability to do things in a trustworthy manner for the benefit of everyone. Very interesting. Now, the feelings about this, the past and where things need to go. Her feelings, la papesse. What we're talking here is the priestess, the high priestess. This is the card of intuition and poetry, understanding the interior, bringing it forward, bringing it out, bringing things into words that are subtle, that are spiritual perhaps, that are harder to grasp. They're not as obvious. They're elements of the situation that are somewhat hidden, and they require a subtle mind, keen observation of things that are not entirely apparent all the time. And she is sort of she handles the watery, moon, intuitive elements of the situation, which are very important in feeding and nourishing others and nourishing one's own inner life. As you deal with things in most situations that are critical or create a lot of anxiety, this ability to rely on instinct in conjunction with the clear-eyed, level-headed approach, which, by the way, does not rule out intuitive thought, because, after all, this is a balance. This is an understanding that all the components psychologically inside a situation are all of equal measure. And the Empress knows this as well. This is the part of the mind that feeds these other parts with the intuition that is required, the gentleness of spirit, the willingness to not always understand rationally what's happening, but to have confidence in one's intuitive sense. The next card are thoughts. How has this person thought about, intellectualized the situation in the past up to now? The Wheel of Fortune. And that's the card of making something happen. Making a decision and making it happen. You grab that thing and you turn it. It's a mechanical device. It doesn't do anything. It leaves these characters, as silly as they are, sort of enjoying themselves in their own way and making a mess of everything until somebody with some control, an idea about what needs to happen, comes here and turns the crank one way or the other. Who knows how far, but that is a mechanical device for a reason, because it means that she has the control of where to go, and she knows it, and she is aware, and this is how she feels about how she thinks about this situation. So there are steps to be taken, and she takes them. And these steps are taken with the input going on of her natural state of being, her intuitive sense, her understanding and gentle control of things, her leadership, and she puts all of those to work through the Wheel of Fortune, which makes things happen. It creates change. It brings this story from the past through the present to the next stage. It's great. Subconscious. What's not visible yet? It's going to be. She'll know it. Others will. The Star card. I love the Star card. The Star card is it is generosity personified. It's generosity. It's the taking of what is given from above in the card and transferring it and allowing it to flow quite literally through into the river of life, the river of existence, the river of humanity, the sharing, this sharing of what I have learned, what I have gained, what I am. I want to give you this. I want to pour life into you. And everything this works very well with this card. The feelings, my feelings or her feelings about this situation have a poetic, intuitive understanding of what's needed, and the emotions are expressed here in this card. They come out and they can literally be put down into words. They are communicated. This is a card of communicating subtleties. Well, when you communicate those subtleties, you are illuminating and you are contributing. You are being generous with what you know, with what is inside, and you share that and you nurture. This nurturing continues the natural nurturing of the Empress. But that's subconscious, what is hidden. This will become more apparent, and what we're talking about really is more apparent to the questioner herself. She will begin to understand that this is part of her nature. What she is doing is sharing and pouring, is making fertile the ground. She's making the rose bloom. What is desired? The Hanged Man, Le Pendu. The Hanged Man, what he's doing is he's basically looking at things from a different point of view, quite obviously. When you hang upside down from, a jungle gym, you see everything from a different perspective. You flipped the problem. You're willing to suspend the moment, to suspend yourself. You're willing to wait. You're willing to wait until you understand what is needed. You're willing to sacrifice. You're willing to do what's absolutely necessary, even if it's very uncomfortable. And look at this head down to earth, feet up high, bringing the head down to earth, keeping it real, putting oneself in an uncomfortable position in order to see something new, something that needs to be seen, something that maybe can't be seen any other way. Not only that, but the hanged man is suspended by, these sticks here, which are very similar to the wands. And wands are the suit of the creative, the fire element, the driving force behind most of life. The energies that make us create things and grow things. That's an important factor here. That is the energy that provides the scaffold to hold the person in this condition. It's uncomfortable, but the person doesn't look particularly unhappy about it. In fact, he looks relatively comfortable, which means that that's the querent's nature. The querent's nature is to allow time to run its course, to wait, to see things from new angles before making decisions. 7, the outcome. After all of this energy flowing through this calm, nurturing spirit, in touch with the inner life, willing to do what's necessary to move to the next stage, the generosity. The generosity that's going to become apparent to oneself, the ability to see things from new angles. This is something that she wants to be able to do, and therefore will do it. Leading up to all this generosity of spirit and willingness to take the effort and time needed, leading up to the next stage, temperance, this card. What you see here in this column, these are very, very related cards because, and look at this with the 2 vases and look at that. Look at the balance. This is also a balancing act. This calmness, this nurturing sense, same thing going on here. This is all related. This is all a nurturing, balanced, calm approach, generosity of spirit. Once having seen things fully from around all angles, then decisions are made and steps taken that lead to a balance, a sharing of multiple aspects of personalities, multiple aspects of the situation, intuitive, rational, emotional, mental. This pouring back and forth from one vase to the other is a sharing, a commingling, if you want. And that commingling creates something new. She's almost like a chemist, a magic chemist who's mixing beakers and potions, and boom, and then the next thing bubbles out. So this implies an ability to mix the ingredients that have been decided upon and to take the necessary steps, and this will lead to the right application, the right next steps in the future. So that's a very beneficial outcome there. Very, very positive. It's the symbol of health, that card. I like that spread. I mean, if I was going to say anything more, I'm just still struck by this pillar. This is a pillar that basically shouts, nurture, nurture, nurture. even-handed. Make it grow. Yes. I like that reading. That's good. So, you know what? When I talk, I sometimes get thirsty. So, I have to have one. Yeah. That's a new spread for me. I don't usually use it. I don't know why. It's just one of the ones I've ignored for however long, and it's nice to do a new one. And it's really, there's nothing complicated about that spread. It's just, I have my favorites, and I think this is going to become one of my favorites. I really like that, and I enjoy sometimes using just the major arcana, because it sort of, it keeps you with sort of the idea of the reading, focuses on major components. But you can't always do that. It's almost like the flags are too bright sometimes, and you need those number cards to come in and give you a sense of, okay, well, this is a little bit more like on the everyday level, combined, mixing in with the huge, deep level of the big cards there. So, yeah. Now, I'm going to do this thing where I... Always good to hydrate. Yeah. I'm going to open my little Q thing. There we go. Oh, good. Okay. Okay, zombie man. Go ahead. Ask. All right, I'm ready. I'm focused. Let's see. I'm going to... okay. I have often asked that question myself. So, let me see. I'm going to switch over, Zombie Man. I'm going to switch over to the tarot cam. Okay. Okay, let's see. Let me get these. All right. Now, I'm going to use the full Tarot de Marseille. For this one. Did I make the right decision? Let's do a very straightforward. We'll pull 3 cards out. That card seems to want to jump. Okay. Let's have a look, shall we? Decision made in the past. Recent, perhaps. This is sort of a present condition, a present sort of point of view, something to consider. This is the attitude, sort of, to consider about the past decision. And this is the upcoming outcome. We've got 2 number cards leading up to a major arcana. So these 2 on the left, the past, the present, are less significant than the upcoming. These are more temporary conditions. They're, few days, few weeks, sort of, they're lighter. They're easier to dispense with. They're easier to arrive at than this. Now, this is the Ace of Swords. This is the air element, the thought, thinking. This is my mentality. This is conflict. This is where, conflicting ideas bring us head to head, and it leads to problems. This is very common, especially in the area of relationships. So this is reversed, it's upside down. Now, the ace is sort of the big waving flag symbol of a suit in the numbers, and it's basically saying, I am ready to apply myself. I am making decisions. I know what I'm doing, and I have everything that's required to make this decision. What this is saying is, yes, decision was made, and it's reversed, so there's doubt, there's concern, there's I thought I had the right set of tools to make this decision. I thought I had the information I needed. My ideas seemed good at the time. I'm just not sure about them. I have great capacity. I have a sharp intellect. And yet, I have this doubt about every little step I take. I ponder, I consider over and over again. When I'm like falling asleep at night, it winds through my head, and I'm like just raging with self-doubt. It's just I can't seem to, have absolute confidence that I make the right decisions in these circumstances. That's what this reversed card is saying. But this is diminishing. That's why it's the left hand. This is moving out. So these doubts about decisions and the process that got you there are ready to go. They've had their chance. And that will free you to consider and become more aware of the present moment, the present attitude, which is a reversal also of coins, otherwise known as pentacles. And we're dealing here with the 9. This is the realm of the physical, the earth, the sustenance, the making my bread and butter, doing my work, getting in the car and going to work, or feeding myself or my family. This is that. This is health. This is taking care of my physical being. Now, what happens in these situations quite often, though, is that this doing the right thing for yourself, because of all this doubt and washing around, like, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm obsessing a little bit on my doubts, and it leads to forgetting sometimes these important things. Sometimes you get a little depressed and don't even want to go to work the next day. And the number 9 in this card represents sort of a crisis of transformation. It's right at the end of a cycle, and it's basically saying you've gone through all these stages, you've done all this stuff has happened, you've got all these doubts, and you're now at a real transformation point, and you need to push through to get there, to get to the end, to seal this up. And it's reversed. So what that's saying is these doubts, you're trying to get rid of them, trying to push this back, but they're still holding back this finalization, final step to get to the 10, which is the last number card, to get there, to shut this thing down and put it in its package and get the situation resolved. The 9 requires perseverance, but it's even more trouble because it's reversed here. So that means that there's more to do. You have to really focus on what it is you want. Not necessarily whether or not all your thinking and facts about the situation were correct back here, because you still have doubts about that. But let that go and start thinking about what it is you need for yourself. That's what this is, physical, the keep yourself together kind of the coins suit here. This element of earth. Bring it down to earth now. Take care of yourself. Have you gone to the gym lately? Are you eating good food? These are all questions like our moms ask us. Honey, are you just eating chips for dinner? Have some broccoli. So that's the kind of perseverance and stick-to-itiveness you have to have here in the present moment now. However, that being said, leading forward from that, apparently there's something you do here that works, because this is a card I was discussing in the prior reading. La Papesse, the High Priestess. This is the card of intuition and feeling and those things that are hidden, those feelings you don't even know you have yet, coming out, and you're able to put them into words. Now, that's from your perspective, but looked at from the perspective of the terminology in your question about another person, well, this is the kind of person that may be on the horizon, or maybe even closer than the horizon, because this is a very sensitive, very intuitive person who is able to express what they're feeling, and they're able to talk to you on a level that's so connected in such a quiet, understanding way. In other words, they get what's inside you. They're going to get things about you that are going to amaze you, and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, you totally, I don't know how you understand that about me. We're like totally on the same wavelength. That's what this card is saying. So, there you have it. I wouldn't mind that card. So, Zombie Man, keep that High Priestess card in mind, because that's a very special kind of person. Yes, I totally, the magician. Yeah. I understand completely. I agree. So look forward to what, think about, do you know who that card represents already? Maybe. If you don't, then get ready, because that card's gonna, someone's gonna slip that card into an envelope and it's got your name on it, and you're gonna be like, oh, here she is. Okay, so let me put this, I like to play these little music things. I'm gonna play this one. Okay. Unity 00. Hit me with your question. Okay, let me read this. Let me switch over so you can see me looking puzzled and trying to figure everything out. Okay. Never really believed in mystic occult. Right. Neither have I, actually. However, I've always found that tarot particularly intriguing. Yep. Philosophical, symbolic, historic perspective. Okay. What might there be to gain from studying tarot and pursuing the ability to read myself? Yeah. I got it. Okay. That okay. So, when you where are the okay, here they are. When you walk into a gallery and an art gallery, nothing to do with tarot. And you just walk around a corner and boom, there's, two paintings on the wall in front of you. Okay? After all, that's all these are. These are just paintings. You can say there's nothing magical about these things. They're just pictures. Now, most painters that you see in a gallery are painting things that they have some deep, profound connection to. They have an idea they want to express. They have symbols they put in. They represent something. They're hoping to represent something to the viewer. And the creators of these cards over time have put a great deal of energy into making these cards represent things, specific things, multiple things in each card, but each card has sort of a general philosophical point of view. So in a gallery, you can be inspired by looking at those two paintings that pop up on a wall in front of you, and they cause the wheels to turn, and they cause you to say, "Oh, I've never seen a picnic on a riverbank quite that way before," and it makes me think about this other thing, and it makes me think about my past, and it brings all these thoughts up when I used to go and have picnics when I was 6 with my family, and blah, blah, and so just start, these things happen like in an instant. Well, that's what the tarot does. It's just a consistently presented set of images that, even with different interpretations by different tarot deck artists, they have a general consistency. They can be interpreted differently. Of course, you can interpret anything any way you want, but they also have historical tendencies in the interpretive area. There are tendencies to view the hermit as someone who wants to be alone and wants to find something. Because of that lamp, he's looking for something external or internal, something emotional or intellectual. It's up to the particular moment of the particular reading. But in general, historically, most readers, most people who write about tarot view the hermit as some sort of leaning towards solitude, spending the time, under the Buddha, under the tree, meditating for as long as it took to come to a realization of self. That's it. That's what usually is floating around this particular image. This image here, the magician, tends toward an interpretation that involves skill, a master of something. And the image kind of lends itself to that. There's sort of what looks like kind of a work table there. Somebody doing something, making things, handling objects. There's sort of a pleasure in doing one's work here. And that quality has been seen by most people involved with tarot over the centuries. So, looking at the deck without any superstitious, perspective, any mystical idea, you're just looking at artistic images that tend to elicit certain ideas most of the time. And they are good at jostling one out of one's normal, everyday way of thinking, which can get very, very sort of in a pattern and a repetition. You drive, you get your coffee, you're in the car, you always see the same lane on the highway, you always take the same exit, you always see the same amount of traffic, and you always yell at the same cars that are slowing down in front of you. And you get out of the car and you walk up the street, you pay your parking, you walk through the lobby, you go up the escalator, you sit down, now it's lunch, I'm going to go, and blah, 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 blah. And your thoughts tend to take these, and then boom, a tarot card comes along, you're like, what the hell is that? That's interesting. And if somebody explains it to you, it gets even more interesting, and then your brain starts boom, 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 boom. Even if you don't believe anything about tarot, doesn't matter. You don't have to believe anything to walk into an art gallery. You're just looking at pictures. You open a magazine, you see pictures. You don't have to believe anything. But still, if you see a great picture of a Hawaiian sunset with a beach, chances are, you're going to be distracted from work and think about, God, that would be nice. So that's all. The philosophical ideas, you can look at tarot totally from an intellectual, philosophical point of view and get enormous amounts of benefit out of it. Especially if you then start adding in reading a few books and, getting other ideas about it. Even reading, the sillier ideas. Goofball ideas about predicting the future and stuff like that, making you can. I would never advise anyone make any big decisions based on a tarot card, but I think it's great when people consider themselves and how they look at things when they use tarot cards. The tarot cards give you that freedom to sort of start experimenting with your own thoughts and the way you tend to approach things. Yeah, Unity. The book thing, I mean, I cannot recommend that enough because that is just flat out fun. Because you go walking around and you find yourself in a bookstore and you're like, oh, there's a really cool looking tarot book. I'm going to get that because not only does it have really great pictures, but it's funny. They're funny tarot books where people like are really cool and write stuff like with a kind of a, they're like, don't take it too seriously, but still like to use it to, but of course they take it seriously enough to write a book and get it published. But I like sometimes the humorous approach. Other times I like the like really serious mystical, this is like, ooh. it's all like, they're all just fun at different times. So, okay. If I had, yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, hang on. Okay. This one, bear with me. Meditations on the Tarot. Now, this is takes a religious perspective. It gets into the Christian, Catholic. Don't let that throw you though, because it's fascinating what the author does. And the author was like unknown for a long time, like a secret. And then I think they figured out who they think wrote it, but it's huge. It only goes through the major arcana, the cards like the Magician and the Hermit and the big ones. But it's so well written and it is really cool, even if you don't care about the whole Catholic-y thing. You don't have to. It doesn't matter. It's worth reading because it gives you that other point of view on tarot. Now, hang on. Another book I would recommend because it really does get into the history of the deck, and it's the deck that I'm using, this one. But it's a new printing of it. But this guy, Jodorowsky, the filmmaker, he's Chilean French, I believe, and he wrote this, The Way of Tarot, the spiritual teacher in the cards. This is great. And he deals with this deck that I just used and talks about its history, and it's fascinating. Now he gets into meanings of the cards and how to do readings and all that stuff, but you get a big dose of all these like facts, and also not only just there are facts about the tarot, but also a lot of it is sort of conjecture. So you get a lot of that. Nobody really knows exactly how the tarot originated. They have ideas, they sort of have a timeline, but nobody knows exactly where it came from. This deck is the Tarot de Marseille. Marseille, the city in France. And it goes way back to 1700. And it comes out of a deck that was even earlier from northern Italy. That was very similar, but the Tarot de Marseille. So just think of the French city of Marseille, and you'll get the versions of this deck that are available. There, you can get them easily. Okay. So Evolution Personal. Go ahead. Unity. Yeah. For a tarot reading, you're the philosophical. Yeah. One could build a reading out of that. asking about the tarot as a yeah. I'm looking at your original question from a more philosophical, symbolic, historic perspective. What might there be to gain from studying tarot and pursuing the ability to read myself? That's a totally valid question. Oh yeah, Unity. I'll get back. I'll get to you. Let me do evolution, and I'll get. Yeah, I'll get your the philosophical reading for yourself thing. Okay, so evolution personal. Go ahead and ask. I'm drinking coffee. I have coffee in one hand and this cherry stuff in the other. One's hot, one's cold. Actually, it's not very hot. Oh. Oh yeah, I don't think they're here. Okay. Alias again. Go ahead. You're right. They ran away. So go ahead, Alias again. While you're writing your question, I'm going to get the deck ready. You're terrible at questions? Just, just make it up. No pressure. I'm just shuffling. I'll be here. Ah. Existential crises are good. Only the best people have existential crises. So, because existential crises, they're just basically a willingness to change. That's all. But really. Well, I mean, as long as one sees like the light at the end of the tunnel, Will my hopes for future? Okay, let's just go and see. future lifestyle. Okay, so hopes for future lifestyle. I know that question. Yes, I've had that. I've had that same wondering. We're going to do again a 3-card. Okay. This is what's gotten me here. This is where I am. And this is what's coming, what I hope. Okay. What's gotten me here? Here we are. This card has shown up earlier today. The Empress. Nurturing. Calm authority. The mothering sort of instinct, which is applicable to male and female. These cards, there's nothing male or female about these cards. They're both. They're different forces present in all of us. This calm, reassuring ability, this ability to lead, and it has to do with our performance in the world, with other people, with tasks, and just the way we look at ourselves. This is making things grow. This is using our power, our strength to benefit and lead with a calm love. Okay, so this has brought you to where you are, to a point now where you're wondering about the future. And you're at a point now, and this is an Arcana card, this is a major Arcana card, these are very significant. This temporary, more temporary present moment, the 9, the persevering, transformative stage card. In the suit of wands, the wands are the fire, the red element, the heat, the hormonal element, basically. The wands are like the hormones of the tarot. They're the driving creative force, the energy that leads us instinctively to want to make things, whether those things are artistic, whether those things are emotional or sexual or even anything, any creative impulse we have is encompassed by the wands suit. And the 9 means that you are at that point of culmination. The end of a development period is at hand. And all systems are go. You have all the capacity required. You have confidence in your creative energy. This isn't about skills necessarily, or having, all of the wherewithal, the means. This means you have the drive, the love of doing it, whatever it is you do. I don't know that. So you have come to this point because you have this gentle but powerful sense of nurturing and fertility. Your cup runneth over. You do things, you combine earthly and spiritual, you combine the rational and the sort of artistic or intuitive, and you use those elements powerfully but evenly, and you're always seeking to make things grow. You are at the stage now of culmination. You are going to take the step to try and finalize your development, okay? Creatively. And it doesn't mean you have to paint or write music. Creatively means how creative you are in solving all sorts of different things, making things, leading to the great intuitive card of the moon, La Lune. Reversed, however. Okay? So this upcoming wanting the lifestyle, what this card is doing, let's look at it right side up first. This is basically a soul card. A card about allowing the spirit of the intuitive mind, the unconscious mind, to come out and play. It's coming out of the watery depths. It's coming from the water symbol. It's showering the earth with this moon, this sort of intuitive, poetic, dreamlike sense. Dream information is coming. These are the ones and zeros from the dream realm, programming the computer, programming us. We are receptive now to the dogs are howling at the moon. They're receptive. They're calling it down to sort of bring us new, the deep underlying information. The dream. What's our real dream of our future state, our future lifestyle? What is it really? What's really important to us? Reversed is basically saying, this doesn't mean, oh no, you're never going to get to this. This is saying, use caution in considering future lifestyle sort of desires in too materialistic a way. It's saying you've got to make your decisions here creatively, right at the culmination, to make yourself really happy in your upcoming lifestyle on that plane that doesn't have necessarily to do with having the Lamborghini in the garage. It's the other part. Nothing wrong with that. But you have to take care of this. And this card is basically saying, don't forget, because it's reversed. So it's like, okay, be careful. There's a slight tendency to think in images that involve the material world, perhaps at the expense of the interior world. And that's what this is hinting at. It's terrifyingly accurate. Well, that last card, I know that last card it's a hard one because, and it's hard for a good reason. This card is all about being difficult because it gets at the most difficult things we really do, as we are like a very sort of fact-based, rational society. And this card is basically going, that's not all of it. That's not, we get that you need to be rational and put two and two together to get, to build a roof over your head. We know that. But there's this other part where this underlying thing in a person has to be this unconscious desire. What is that hidden voice saying? It's very hard to hear. That's why this is a difficult card. It's about something that's very hard for us to acknowledge and hear. For everyone, it's very hard. And that, I think, is why you're lost with that card. Everyone is. That's what it means. It's saying, don't forget that hard part, because you read about these people that they start out poor, they get really rich, and they like become a big like music person or something, and they buy some big fancy thing in the hills, and then they end up like in incredible crisis, taking all the wrong medications, and end up dead at 40. And they had everything they wanted, except they forgot that card. That's what it is. They didn't get that moon card. They didn't get what it was saying, or they never saw it in their entire life. They never got that message. So that's what it's saying. So your future is okay. Well, if that's the case, then if your future is a person, not a thing, it's the message is still the same. The message is still saying, don't forget to seek that. Listen to that hidden voice, and that will stand in your favor when that future lifestyle, person or not, starts coming closer. Listening to that at the time when you get there, then you may oh, you know what? I remember that ridiculous card that guy told me. And, and you'll go, oh yeah, I know what that is. I know. It's like, it's an aspect of this new situation with this new person. It's an aspect that it's reminding me to pay attention to and to foster, to allow it to come up out of the water. This card here with you see that crawfish or whatever it is, that's sort of a symbolic for like the soul, the deep underlying sort of dream soul in the water there, in the depths, the bubbling up, the coming up slowly it's coming in closer to the conscious mind. We become more aware of these things. But I think those things will become clearer. Simvips. Simvips, if you're still here, go ahead and pop your question, and I'll try. I'm gonna reach over and get those cards again. Oh yeah, you're welcome, Alias, again. That's the thing about a tarot reading. The elaborating is natural because as you keep considering how the cards apply to something, you one thing connects to another. It's just the way it works. So Simvips, I'm not sure if Simvips is here. Let me see. I have... Oh, Unity's back. That's right. Okay, so Simvips, if you're not here and you come back, we can get back to you. Okay, Unity. Unity, you were wanting to read with the philosophical approach in mind and whether it would be beneficial to like read for yourself. I think, am I right? Okay. The journey of tarot study may hold. Okay. Let me switch over to the tarot cam. All right. I think, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do, I think that this reading should use the spread I did first this evening with the major arcana. Because, you know, studying the tarot is... I don't think we're going to want the more temporary conditions of the number of cards for this one. We're going to stick with major for this one. Now, I'm going to do this a little differently. And just go from, I'm going to keep cutting and shuffling until I get, and I'm going to take the top 7 cards off the deck. That's our present. Feelings. Thoughts. Heart of the matter. Central focal point. Subconscious. Desire, and finally, the outcome. Okay, fascinating. All right. Let's start right off at the heart. Heart of the matter. You, where you are in your outlook on this topic of reading the tarot. The Chariot. That's a big card of moving out, active in the world, guiding, taking life as it comes, going after it. There's a tendency to want, to be active, to seek, go on adventure. And learning to read the tarot can be the adventure we're discussing. That's the topic here. This is the card of taking yourself and applying yourself completely to something and enjoying the open adventure of it. Get out on that road and put all your tools to work. That's what this guy is doing. Very active. That can be intellectual, creative, it can be physical, but that's the card. And if we're going to apply it to the study of the tarot, then it's probably got mainly here a creative and intellectual aspect. Okay, let's come down to the present. The lovers, l'amoureux. Okay, this is knowing what you want. There's decisions to be made. But that decision, I mean, there's three people involved here. It's not just a couple. There's like a third party of some kind. Hardly matters even what kind. Could be parental, could be another person, that's important to us. It's a decision, but it's a decision based on feeling, on love, on romantic feelings. You have to love what you are doing. You have to, if you're going to take action, you're a person that wants to move out into the world and experience it. It could be you want to experience the road of the tarot. Make sure, right at the outset, in the present moment, that you are willing to make that decision based on real fascination, and make sure it's done with enjoyment. You have to do it, you have to really enjoy the process. It doesn't have to be a study that is rigorously dry, and as if you're preparing for a final exam. It can be done as creatively and full of enjoyment as you want. That's the great thing about tarot. I mean, look at this. Look. You know what? I forgot to light this. Hang on. Look. I was just gonna show how I do silly things like this, like this. That's done not to summon a spirit, not to create a magic spell. That's done because it's fun, because I like it. That's all. And I like the way it looks. That's how you have to approach the tarot. That's what this card is saying. Love to do it the way you love to do it, period. No more question. 2. This 2 card. Your feelings about this subject. This comes in and it unsettles. It disrupts. It says, okay, no, that your way of thinking about prior things could be changing. It could be that a new idea comes in and goes, here's this thing standing up. This new idea comes in and goes, not entirely. Boom. Now what are you going to do? Because this just upset your notions. And that's what tarot does. Tarot unsettles the structure that you've built. Could be a rational structure, could be a way of thinking about things up to now. This is saying that's over. If you go down this path, if you go out on the chariot down the tarot road and you do it with real joy, it's going to change a few things. Not in a bad way. It just creates change. It's like renovating your personal house. Now, thoughts, okay? The 3rd card. How you sort of think and intellectualize the situation of embarking on the tarot road. Well, the thought could be seeking wholeness, seeking a form of rebirth, bettering yourself. This card has a very obvious womb-like structure, a birthing of something brand new and whole. That's what these symbols with the circle And it's a wholeness. It's a fully developed person or personality or point of view. And it emerges fully developed and wanting to now go further, come out into the world and take action, just like this chariot is telling you always. So this is something that you should consider, something to think about. This is this over here is a feeling about it. This is a more emotional response, the upheaval and change that comes. This is the more sort of something to consider and think about. Now here in 5 we have the subconscious. This is hidden. And what a perfect card for that. For embarking on the tarot, my subconscious, what is happening here, the reason that maybe you're asking this question about tarot is because you have a submerged, slightly perhaps, inclination to seek, to ponder alone with some solitude, to look for something that feels valuable, some truth about yourself. And that's what this card is saying. This is in the position of the subconscious, what will be revealed if you continue down this road. If you take this action, you do things with joy, you let them unsettle your feelings, you seek consciously for a whole new development. You allow this to come out. This will emerge. This seeker of the hidden will emerge and become more and more a component of your personality. Now here, what you desire, what you're trying, what you sort of are hoping, this is the unnamed card, sometimes incorrectly called simply the death card. What it is, actually, is the card of significant change and fertilizing of the field of your life for the next step. This is a dispensing with the unnecessary, dispensing with what is no longer needed, what has been holding you back. This is a cutting it down, but using its parts, as you can see, as fertilizer to grow the next tree or the next crop. That's what that card is about. That's what you're seeking. That's what you're trying to do when you embark on a road down the tarot. You're seeking to change something significant and profound, whether it be mystical or religious or just philosophical or just intellectual or even mathematical, whatever it is. You are seeking to change something profound. The outcome, you really couldn't have a better card for that. Because what that card is, and we just discussed him a little earlier, is the Magician. The Magician is the card of immense skill and understanding and wherewithal. This is the guy or the woman who knows how to use all the tools at their disposal, who knows how to craft whatever it is that they want to build. So, if you embark down the road of the tarot and are willing to let it jostle you, and you think about its final, what it's going to make of you, how it'll give you a sense of wholeness, it'll allow this seeker of truth to emerge. It'll create the conditions for great change down the road, and it will lead ultimately to mastery, to skill. And that could be skill at figuring out yourself and knowing what you are really capable of. So, I just banged my chair into the desk. That's okay. um, so, unity. Yes. Look, I love that bottom card there. I've left it on the screen, that lover card, because I love that idea of, if you're going to go out on the road of tarot, find the way that makes you really enjoy it. That lover card, don't be too serious about it initially. Just really have fun with it. Play with it. Okay. Charlie Z. Go ahead, Charlie Z. Yes, that's okay. Do you want me to just start right in and do a general reading right away? I'll just do okay, Charlie Z. I'm just going to do a general reading. Let me think. I'm going to just ponder for a moment what to do with the spread. What will be, a general reading? Okay, let me move over to the tarot table and pick up the cards. Okay, we're going to use the full deck for a general reading, 3-card reading. It's just going to give us sort of a little snapshot. It's going to be just a little like, a little tarot person walks up to you and just says, okay, good day, and here's just a nice little greeting which includes something to think about for the weekend, okay? Some things that you might want to sort of let go and don't let them bother you. And the next one is something to think about, right now. And then the next thing is just simply something to sort of prepare yourself for. Haha. Okay. Okay. All right. Charlie Z. Something to let go of. And we're just talking about something to think about this weekend. This isn't major life crisis stuff here. Okay? Something to let go of this weekend. Starting this evening, we have the Five of Coins, Pentacles, the material, the earthy, the sensual. It's reversed. Now, the five is a number of something new. There's something new that's upsetting the standard status quo, but it's got a lot of possibility. You know, you got the four with the sort of solid security, little conservative, you know, very stable, and then this fifth element, boom, comes in through the front door and sits right down on the sofa right in front of where you want to be watching the television, boom, and says, oh, by the way, have you considered this? And you're like, what? That's what that card is about. Now it's reversed. So the reversal is basically saying, you know, when it's right side up, it's saying, you know what? The card's right side up. This guy comes in, says, hey, have you thought about this? You're like, what? Okay, big new thing. It's upsetting, but all sorts of possibility. When it's upside down, it's saying, okay, you know what? You're just trying to stay in that four. You're just sitting on the sofa with your feet up on the coffee table, and the guy comes in, sits down, says, hey, have you thought about this? And you just throw him out. I mean, sure, if somebody walked in and sat on my sofa, I'd probably call somebody. but in the metaphorical sense, you just throw them out. You're not getting that new energy, that new perspective that makes you go, oh my gosh, I never thought of that. And we're talking about the physical realm. We're talking about body and money and food and sustenance and work and that kind of materialistic. Don't be fooled. That materialism is highly important. It's, you know, it's down to earth. It's the salt of the earth sort of card. It's saying don't ignore that nerve-wracking, slightly obnoxious visitor, which could be new idea, new option at work, something that's a little concerning, has you a little nervous. Don't worry so much about it. Let it go. Let that hesitation go. Could just be new ideas, new way of approaching things, a new kind of book to read. Just let the worry about it go. Let the hesitation go. Engage the stranger. Now, so let that pass. Let that hesitation pass. Now, something to hold on to, okay? Here, in the middle. This is much more like right now. Let's basically look at things this way this weekend, right now. Temperance. Very important card, big deep personality card, right side up. You know, this is the balanced mixing of different elements to create something new. This is an ability to seek equilibrium. It's reversed. So, again, hesitation with new ideas. Let that hesitation go. Think about now trying to move in the flow with things that may seem unrelated. And we're just talking this weekend, okay? You know, let this Let the new energy allow you to put two things together that you might not have considered putting together before. It could be something as simple as inviting two friends to something who don't know each other. And see how that goes. Don't worry about it. This reversal card says there's may be a tendency here to shy away from certain mixtures. Okay? Certain recipe. They seem like recipes for disaster, but in fact, they may not be. Give them a chance, because remember that. New energy, new ideas. Now, something to look forward to, something to try and get next. Try to look for this weekend. This is the card of pondering. This is some alone time. This is basically saying, okay, you know what? If you let these new ideas come in, if you start putting these things together, these new ideas together, and give them space, let them grow in your mind, then this very wise sense of discovery emerges. This is something to look to. This is some head toward this consideration, this being honest with yourself is what this card is about. And sometimes it means really knowing what you're thinking underneath all of the social responsibilities. You have to be alone for a little while to get to this. So basically, don't worry about the new thoughts. Don't worry about mixing things up. Let it happen, and you will illuminate something new about yourself, about your situation. And there you have it. Oh yes, Unity. What I do is I save these streams. Twitch will save a stream for I don't know, a couple weeks, I think. But what I do is I export them also to YouTube. Most of them anyway. So I do that, and so they're available on YouTube. And I think, I should put a link to that. I can't remember if I even put a link to that, but I will. I'll put a link to that so that it's obvious where the old streams are. That's a good point you made, Unity. Yeah. Charlie Z. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. The Hornet's back. Hornet, just ask away, and I will try to figure it out with these crazy cards. I'm gonna surprise you. Okay, all right. Okay. Let me see. Okay, I can do that. Let me get into my surprise. I'm gonna put my surprising face on. Okay, my surprising face. Surprising face is this. Okay, I'm gonna. Okay, switch back to the tarot cam. Let's get serious now. Okay, because I got to surprise you somehow. I don't know. let's see. Surprise you. Okay. All right. So, surprise. Okay. Well, I mean, look. Oh, don't want that. Done. You have to sort. You have to sort of know when you're done shuffling. You just. Okay. Let me think. What am I gonna do for you? Okay. This is your spirit. Just today. Just think of for now. Your head. Your heart. Basic, main, central issue. Let's start with the basic, main, central issue. 6, very harmonious in the physical realm. This is beauty, attraction, pleasure. This is I want you. I love you. I want you. I love everything about you. I'm really happy just to touch you. That's what this card is. It's reversed. It's saying, well, okay, there's not a whole lot of that at the moment. Maybe the idea here is, what can we do to find a little bit more of this? This sensuality, this pleasure principle, this love of living the moment down to earth, this love of touch, this love of the material, of good food, money. We want more pleasure. We're attracted to this entire principle and we want it. Something's holding us up though. Let's figure out what it is. That's why it's reversed. Okay. Now, your spiritual self, your sense of sort of your, when you try to rise above it, you try to rise above the physical, okay? You try to rise above the everyday. You've got the Magician reversed. This is a profound personality card. This is some tentativeness in the realm of applying what you darn well know you can do, of applying your skill to this scenario here, this material, earthly physicality, this wanting the pleasure, the attraction. This is the sense of not quite having confidence in your tools. So you want that. This is basically the card that's saying, this is what you pray for. You want to be this person this way. On a spiritual level. This is a wish. Now, thinking about it, being intellectual about it, talking about it, is this card. And that's the wands, the fire, the creative element. This is the driving force, the hormonal, like, blast behind this, any urge. The wands, that's what that represents, the fire. And it's the 4. This is powerful, strong, secure. So, to think about it means to consciously tell yourself that you want the balance and the security and the solid confidence in your creative forces, your drives, that you feel, that you pray for up here, that you sometimes sense is lacking. And this is only just for this weekend, really. This is not a huge life crisis reading. Okay, just a little bit, and so this is what you think. This is, thinking about how you can find that, what you can do to increase your confidence in your creative, more sensual drives in life. This is the energy, the driving force behind the seeking of the physical. Now, what you feel, as opposed to what you think, is here. The Judgment card. Reversed. I'm putting it right side up for clarity. But that is the following your mission, the following the sound of your own voice. Okay? What you know is really you. What you know you're darn well supposed to be doing. And if you feel that you have some doubt about your skills, applying your skills to this, then you may also have an accompanying sort of feeling that you aren't getting to what you actually really seek. Because it's not hard to hear that horn. It's actually much quieter than you think. It should be obvious, but it's not. These people aren't paying adequate attention down here. You can feel this want here. You want the harmony and pleasure embodied here. You think about it. You think about applying what you darn well know you have here so that you can be confident in it. Applying, you pray for it. You pray for this skill, this ability to really get to it. And here you feel like you're missing something obvious that's deeply important to you. And it's just saying, okay, so just listen a little harder, you'll hear it. That's all. That's what the reversal is. Oh, Hornet, what? Should it be more than 1080p? Really? basically what you're saying is this should be in 4K. I don't know. I just defaulted to 1080. I'm not sure. I better step up my game. Unity, you started your first book. You've already purchased 3 decks. Oh my gosh. Don't worry. You know what? I've often Unity. I've thought the same thing. You know, you go on a buying binge of books, but hey, sometimes it's necessary. I do that. I go and I throw 3 books in a bag at the bookstore, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what did I just do? 8K. Jeez. Okay. 8K. You know, you're going to completely burn down you're going to burn down the internet for the entire state if I go 8K. All right. Let me see. I'm going to do that. I'm going to close the queue. Well, I'm going to pick. There we go. Okay. Evolution, you're back. Ask. Go ahead and ask. I think Evolution had to go, so get up, Olive. You're next. Oh, okay. 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 Yes. Very specific question. Now, I'm not going to tell you definitely whether you're going to marry your best friend, because the tarot cannot absolutely predict anything. What I will do is tell you, what the cards are suggesting for ways of thinking about this relationship that may help, sort of clarify your own thoughts about where this relationship should go. It's that along those lines. So let's go over So, sorry, I have to reach over sometimes and press buttons. Okay, get up, Olive. New ways of thinking about a relationship. And you know what? I'm going to put the major arcana to work here. I think that's important for this one. I'm switching decks to the major arcana now that I think about it. Because we don't want the more everyday cards coming in on this one. We want to keep this in the big, bold headline sort of chapters. Haha, okay. Fascinating. Okay. Get up, Olive. Now, dealing with a best friend here. Okay? Someone you know about. This is someone you understand. This is someone you're very familiar with. And, that sometimes works to our disadvantage. And here we see. This is what's led us. This is the condition leading us up to this current question. The Devil card. Now, what the devil... You see how these... You see, the devil sort of has two worshippers. They can be looked at as prisoners or worshippers, but they are fixated. They are chained. They are basically held captive to something. Now, that can be a situation. This is also the realm of unconscious. Can be very inspiring. This card is not as negative as some people think it is. This is the card. This is where a lot of energy comes from for making great things. This is a sensual card. There can be a certain amount of dark pleasure to this card. Something we're afraid of often. Sometimes we're afraid to admit. And in the case of a best friend and wondering about where that's going, well, that can certainly be a factor on several levels. Chained to an idea of what this relationship has been and can only be. But there's energy here. There's desire. This desire, if not handled properly within the context of this relationship, can lead to trouble. It can flare up and lead to real problems. On the other hand, if it is acknowledged correctly, if it is handled adeptly, it can represent discovery of unknown potential here in this devil card. You have to remember the devil is complicated. There's Lucifer, but, often considered the god of light. You have to remember that the light coming up from underneath, those hidden unconscious desires, they play a role in health. As long as they're not obsessive and chained in, and they become overwhelming and lead one into dark, repetitive behavior. But it's something so this may represent real forces under the surface that you might be having trouble dealing with. Okay? Now, that's led up to this current crisis of love. The Lover's card, with the decision implied. Multiple people involved. It gets a little confusing. But the fact is, someone here is in love. Okay? And they need to start making decisions based upon that love. They need to basically seek a true and respectful road, a path, and be honest about what is happening. The reversal of this card means that there's a lot of hesitation to decide this and express it openly. And that hesitation could be there for great reasons. Actually, there's nothing wrong with it, because look, everyone knows what it's like to, have a thing for a best friend or a friend. It's, it can be, you just never get up the nerve to say it. That's what this card is saying. But the suggestion of the cards, something to consider, is strength, force. It's the ability to handle the situation and the emotion involved. One's personal, emotional, and mental strength to handle this entire situation and find the best outcome. You can master this, whether it means controlling it or letting this loose. The fact is, once you make that decision that's central to this whole issue, and you make it wholeheartedly and honestly, you have the strength and the wherewithal to master that situation and handle it for the best for everyone involved. Simple as that. Oh, you pulled the devil card earlier. Well, so clearly we must be working in conjunction somehow, because because that's pretty interesting. Yeah, I just thought that kind of question sort of required the more deep symbols of the major arcana, rather than I don't think the number cards are really that important for that kind of a question. So that's really good. I'm glad you picked the devil card. So, that's a card to pay attention to, but don't misunderstand the devil card, because a lot of people get that card totally confused, and it can be thought of as, you have to play with desire. If it's there, you have to acknowledge it. Otherwise, there's a problem. It has to be something that you, at least personally, are able to acknowledge it exists and to enjoy it. And that's what that devil card means. As long as it doesn't get it to a point of excessive, neurotic, sort of obsessive behavior, or excessive round and round and round thoughts. That's what that card always has an implicit warning against. Oh, well, thank you very much. The thing about mothers, look, that's an old story. Mothers and parents, yes, and different cultures have different ways of approaching that, and different cultures put more significance or less significance on parent views. You know what I mean? So it's hard, and like one person in one culture, if somebody's from another culture, they may not understand how parents sometimes have a huge role to play in decisions like this. So yeah, I think the main thing is for most scenarios is like what the cards are saying. Well, and there's the Lover's card in the middle, which has the three people. And a lot of people say, who write about tarot, they say that Lover's card with the three people, that one of them is in fact the mother, and that the other two are the lovers, and that the mother is having some kind of a role in making this decision. So that actually fits well. And it simply is a way of the tarot card saying that this is a well understood situation in life. Yeah. Oh, well, that's, yeah. If a mother is horrible, then, you know, when people grow up, they grow up for a reason. And that is that their parents don't get to make all the decisions anymore. That's why people grow up. That, and that's what that Lover's card is there for. It's saying you have to make a decision for yourself. If the mother is in that picture, is she going to make the decision, or are you two going to make the decision? That's why that card's there. Thank you, Get Up Olive. Now, I'm getting a little hungry for some reason, so I'm going to end the stream in a couple minutes. But it's been great. This is reading for you all has been really fascinating. The questions are awesome. The third card is Strength. Yes, the Strength card. That's this card that says basically you can handle all of this, and you can handle it easily. You can tame the beast of the problem. That's what that card is saying on the right-hand side. La Force, Strength. You're welcome, Unity, and thank you for coming and all your great comments about the tarot, and I hope you really love the books you're getting and have a ton of fun. Oh, good. Yeah. The books, just totally, get into it. And yeah, it's better than most TV, I'm telling you. Okay, I'm gonna go and get something to eat, because man, I've been drinking like flavored water, so I'm gonna go and get some dinner. Talk to you later.